Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Titans of Publishing. I'm Bill Davis, and he's Marc Harty. Say hi, Marc.
Hello.
All right. So today we wanted to, first of all, happy Friday. It's hopefully it's going to turn out to be a good weekend for all of you. I'm planning for one. So let's kick it off with a really good top show today. And today we wanted to talk about editorial calendars, their importance, what they are, how to use them, and all that good stuff. And we're going to try to get that done in about 20 minutes. So let's go. Um,
Yes.
so I recently did a meetup mastermind where I talked about editorial calendars, and I wanted to share kind of some of that insight with you and how I use one and why I use one. And Marc, you can certainly dive right in right now, and I'll glom on, or I can just take it away. Your choice.
Why don't you take it away, and I will be the glommer as opposed to the glommie.
All right. So the question is, what is an editorial calendar and why use one? So an editorial calendar is just a simple way for a person like me or you, any kind of publisher who publishes, whether it's online or offline or a combination of both, to not only plan your content marketing strategy, but track your progress as well as your success or failures. So I use it for those three purposes. But the main purpose, at least when you're getting started, is how do I plan what I'm going to publish? And that could be, videos, blogs, uh, uh, you know, it could be your social media calendar as well. What am I going to post on my social media stuff like Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube and Twitter? For example, you can have different tabs for each of those. I use simple stuff like an Excel spreadsheet.
Hmm.
Use a Google Docs, a Google Sheets workbook. You can use a PDF. You can write it down. Doesn't matter. The point is use it because a lot of us don't use these things, and you've heard it before. Um, but it's kind of like with blog posts and content marketing in general. We spray and pray. And
That's right. That's right. And this very show is an example of an editorial calendar because Bill and I have had numerous times where we've had something come up on Friday, and I'm like, should we do the show? Should we move the time? And I told Bill, I was like, you know what? When you turn on your television and you want to watch a show, they don't just decide kind of randomly to show up or not show up because they're committed. It's on the calendar. So your guide, whatever you look at online, if you have, we have Uverse here. It's like a version of the editorial calendar. So I mean, that's kind of a random example, but a couple other points which are helpful. A lot of people know me for PR, and I know, I got familiar with editorial calendars way back when my agency was either placing advertising in trade magazines or we were trying to pitch articles to various magazines. And what do
yeah,
they do? They publish their editorial calendar. And often, in magazines, it was like 90 days out, but they would actually publish their editorial calendar for the entire year. Now, this is at a much higher level than we are using today. But what was helpful is it actually attracted business. So, I'll give you another example. I used to live in Dallas. Every big city has a city magazine. In Dallas's case, it was D Magazine. Well, when they do the best of, which is, the best restaurants, the best, bars and nightclubs, they've done separate issues for the best doctors. Well, guess what? Everybody that, if you're a dentist or a doctor, you want to be in that best of issue. So it not only helps you get your kind of mindset clear, but it can help you attract business because you're kind of, you're doing like rather than kind of like, say you're doing a newsletter, where instead of you're doing like 5 different topics, you're focused very granular on one topic, and that actually attracts people because you've made a special effort. Does that make sense?
absolutely. I love that. I love that you can actually use it, and that's something I didn't touch on. but I love that you can use it to promote, uh, your product or your service, or your publication. That's great. So those are, and those are what I'm going to do is, in the comments, on the Facebook post that this video is on, I'll do like we've always done in the past, is I will link out to the spreadsheet that I'm using, and you can kind of see what's going on. There's some hidden tabs, some hidden columns, um, some easy Excel functions you can use. Because what I did was I incorporated United States holidays into the calendar.
Hmm.
Um, and you can add columns to the spreadsheet that reflect, who did I pitch this to? Who did I promote this to? When did I do that? When did I publish it? What's the URL
Yeah.
of the publication? If I'm doing a guest post, you know, what blog did it go on, or what website did it go on? What's the URL of that? What did I do in terms of social media? Did I share it? Did I, that, all that kind of stuff? Because as content creation is huge, but content promotion is huger.
It's huge. Well, Bill, as you were talking, a couple thoughts hit me. Number one, and I also have some editorial calendar resources. One, which is an online version, which is free, and I have a spreadsheet template as well. It's in an Excel file, but you can upload it to Google Docs or what have you. But I thought of this, and I'll have to check if it's still around because it it was. I don't know if it fits the criteria of editorial calendar, but what it was actually very masterful, and that it was every day. Every day is some kind of significant day. So, for example, Bill, do you know what July 16th is?
No, but I can tell you two notable events that fit hand in glove for today. But you go first.
Okay, well, this is especially for you. July 16th is National Ice Cream Day. So, yes, yes, two big thumbs up. So, what I used to do, and maybe I can send you a couple examples of this from earlier blog posts that I did, is I would, because my subject area is PR, I would look at this calendar in advance, and I would give people ideas. So, ideas for promotions, ideas for like what we talked about before, content marketing. But this calendar was literally every day. And what was cool about it was every day stood for something, a lot of times every week, every month. I mean, you've seen this before, Black History Month, so there are a lot of things. The reason we're sharing this topic with you today is, like Bill said before, the worst thing is to be staring at a blank screen and saying, well, hey, what do I write about? What do I talk about? You've got all these external resources that you can use not only to kind of brainstorm and get ideas, but structure your calendar around. And it makes it a lot easier. I mean, a lot of times where people would talk to me and say, well, what do I talk about with a press release? And I'd show them this calendar and I said, play off with one of these. There's, National Accountants Week. If you're an accountant, you should probably get out there and do something.
So let me tell you what I was surprised when I was. I don't even know why I was looking for this today, but I was looking for like holidays or whatever, for the rest of the month, and I was surprised to find that there are, like, I shouldn't say holidays, but national days around lots of different topics just for today. And I
Mhm.
found out that, interestingly enough, and use your own imagination here, as to where I'm going with this. It's National Nude Day, and
Of course it is.
it's National Tape Measure Day. So I suggest you might want to, kill two birds with one
Uh,
stone, and take that tape measure to the beach. But anyway, it's just, there's a reason to celebrate everything every day. And what I like to do around the holidays, and you could do it with national days too, is mini campaigns around each of the holidays. Like, for example, Christmas or Halloween, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks out, those are big holidays, big e-commerce type holidays. You could start setting up, or you could set up months in advance, those, promotions, content promotions around the various holidays. Like if you had a Halloween type sell site, e-commerce site, a month out, 2 months out. Hey, costumes, this kind of costume. You could do, different, themes, different things you might want to do to decorate, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it goes on and on. You will never run out of ideas if you do just that, because, I mean, heck, any niche you could find national days or holidays around, which to promote various forms of content. And like Mark said, it does help you to figure out what can I be doing in terms of content and content marketing and content creation, instead of just looking at a blank screen, which is what a lot of us do. I'm sure there are people out there, who are going to watch this video and say, I do that every single day. Well, with an editorial calendar, you don't really have to do that anymore. You don't have to feel like, oh my God, I got to write something today, and what is it? You could think, you can plan things out, schedule them in advance, and even write about them in advance. And just, if you're using like a WordPress website or whatever, just schedule the publication date. Super simple.
The other thing that I've noticed is, well, I'm hearing those speakers again for some reason. Oops.
Try now.
Hello. Yeah, that works. What I found, and I'll give you a couple examples for if you're on my mailing list, and that is I have themed days. So, for example, today is, I use acronyms all the time, CFF, which stands for Cool Find Friday. And what I do is I share resources. It could be about anything. Like today was, hey, I actually found a GoDaddy renewal promo code that works, because that's the way GoDaddy gets you, is they get you in cheap, and then when it comes time for renewals, none of their promotions or discounts work on renewals. They only work on new stuff or other things you probably don't need.
Right.
But what I find is throughout the week, or, I have things bookmarked, I'll be thinking about what I'll be writing about on Friday, because I already know what the topic is. I'm like, okay, well, what are the resources for this week? And of course, I have a whole kind of not backlog, but I have a lot of things. And what I really do is I choose what is timely, maybe something that's with current events, or just makes sense. In this case, I want to do about domains, because I found this code and it's only good through the rest of the month. Another thing I do on Mondays, I do another themed newsletter, which is the Monday Morning Momentum, or the Monday Morning Memo. And that really is more motivational. A lot of times Mondays, like, yay, you had a good weekend, you got to, get back to work. And so what I find is when you theme certain things, when you kind of brand certain things, then it makes it easier, because your subconscious is already thinking, well, gee, what could I talk about? As opposed to, you don't know what you have to talk about. You know what? I got to get something out on Monday. I haven't mailed my list in 2 weeks. So those are just a couple other examples that worked for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we said it in maybe the first or second show quite a few weeks ago, and that is always be publishing. That doesn't mean publish 8 times a day, but it does mean that, if you decide, hey, I'm just going to send out, or I'm going to publish one post a week, that's fine. Be consistent about it, and do your prep work. Kind of assemble resources and material that you can refer to use in your content creation. And you can curate content like that you find in just your everyday reading or research. You could curate that content into your own created posts. So if you're going to make one blog post a week, it probably ought to be fairly substantial, 1,000, 2,000 words. Um, and if you think about it and you brainstorm it and you collect information over the course of a week, you're going to be you're not going to be sitting there on Friday looking at a blank screen saying, "What the hell am I going to type in here?" It's already laid out, and it's pretty much I'm a big believer in letting your subconscious do a lot of the work. And if you set upon a goal of I'm going to write this this content on Friday, and you start thinking about it on, say, Sunday or Monday, and you start assembling resources and whatnot, it almost writes itself. That's been my experience.
Um, yeah, and that. So I think what we've talked about. I mean, I think we've got probably at least 4 or 5 resources that we can share with folks. In the thread of comments, and it just makes it easy. It just makes it easy, and it works, and that's what it's about.
And it's these tools and resources that we're gonna provide in the comments. They're like any other tool. They only work if you use them. You don't have to use tool A, B, or C. If you like D and it works for you, use it. Keep on using it. And just because somebody says, "Hey, use this one, it's the best one since toast," doesn't mean it's going to work for you, because you may not like toast. So yeah. So I think that about wraps it up. I think we did that in, I don't know, 17 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's enough good information. We'll put the resources in the comments probably over the weekend. And hopefully you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. All right.
See you, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.